Hello and welcome back to our little corner of campus. Today is the first episode of Teacher Spotlight, a little segment where we take teachers and faculty that students nominate and ask them the questions that you want to hear. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Dose. I teach psychology here. I've been here for about 13 years, and I'm the advisor to the psychology club and just relish in every course that I offer.
Alrighty, Miss Dose, let's get straight into it. Let's start with something easy. What sparked your interest in teaching?
That's a really good question. Taking back, so I'm a clinician by trade. So I was a therapist. I had worked for a number of years providing outpatient therapy. I worked with the Department of Corrections, so I was working in and out of the prisons. And I just felt a little bit tired and burned out. And I happened to teach a course for a local community college going on 30 years ago now. And I found that I loved being in the classroom. And I enjoyed the energy that reciprocated with the students. And it's just taken off from there. So for the last 30 years, I've had a good combination of clinical practice and education.
That is amazing, and that actually leads into this. So every nomination that you received mentioned how incredibly kind you are, and even mentioned your top quality communication, which makes sense given your extensive background in this. What steps do you take to make sure your students see this side of you? More specifically, in what ways do you communicate so effectively, and how do you show compassion to each one of your students individually?
That's a really good question. In terms of communication, I really try to walk in having meditated, and I try to be in a position of preparedness and excitement when I walk into class, because I know that I have to help maintain the energy in that room. In terms of fostering compassion, being a mom, I think it is helpful, understanding what college kids go through, understanding that this is not their only place to be and job to do, and just really doing my best to reach out and make sure that everybody feels welcomed.
Awesome. One specific nomination that caught my eye had this quote that I just really found interesting. It said that you figured out the best method for your students that does not overbear them with work but also helps them learn. What methods do you use to achieve this? And do you have any recommendations to professors that may be struggling with this area of teaching?
Number one, that was so incredibly nice. That was beautiful to hear. Thank you for that. I don't know if I'm any different in terms of my teaching methodologies, but particularly in my online classes, I've realized that 8-week classes are very, very tough, very strenuous on students. So I've scaled back some of the projects that are required. I've scaled back the discussions, and I'm really looking for the quality of their work over the quantity. I want students to walk away with 5 to 10 key items or theories that they can take with them. So it's really about thinking about the most important and central ideas in the class.
All right. So you said you were a forensics psychology major. So obviously you just said with your online classes you like to do a little bit more quality over quantity. So would you recommend anything for students coming into GHC that want to do this forensic psychology? Anything that they could look forward to if they go to your class?
Oh, goodness gracious. So forensic psychology I teach in the spring. It's always on Mondays and Wednesdays. One of the unique features of this class is we tend to go out and we tour prisons. We've done Floyd County. We've done Hayes State Prison. We were the only academic group to ever tour Hayes State Prison, which is a level 5 maximum. We've done Atlanta Penitentiary, and each spring we do the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. So it's not mandatory for students to attend, but it gives them a really strong wealth of experience and insight into what they've been doing in the field. Also bring in guest speakers like law enforcement and medical examiners. So really it's about hands-on activities in that class.
That's really cool, and I'm sure that's exciting for all the students that kind of make their way into your classroom. This is completely off script. One of the nominations said that they would love to hear somebody just pick at your brain a little bit. So, of course, we talked about your previous background and how you got into teaching. What fostered your love for this specific style of teaching when it comes to forensic psychology? What made you go into forensics?
So about 15 years ago, I happened to network with the Chicago Police Department, and I was working with their homicide division. So anytime there was an unusual case, I would be brought in to help, the detectives scale back who the offender might be, how to communicate with the offender, how to move forward with the case. Since that time, I've worked with Daytona Beach, West Palm Beach, a little bit in Pickens County and Cherokee County. So when they have unusual cases, they send them to me, and I just try to give them some some psychological feedback. I'm not sure if that answers your question or not.
Well, I didn't write it down, but I'm pretty sure that answered the question I had just fine because I think it shows that you just used your past experiences with the work that you did, and you're just using that as a way to teach this future generation of hopefully people to go into the field because I know personally that the field is starting to slowly die out. Less and less people are wanting these types of forensics on the site jobs.
Yes.
So you being able to foster this love that you've created into this younger generation is going to be amazing for that field later on.
Thank you. There's a strong overlap between psychology and criminal justice. So we tend to work in the same fields. So I tend to attract more criminal justice students for this class than psychology.
That's really cool.
Thank
So that's all the questions that I had prepared. Is there anything that you want to say to the listeners at home or any kind of last message or announcements that you have for your psychology club?
I just want to thank you for joining the GHC family. This is a great place to be. If you're interested in joining the psychology club, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm at EDOS at Highlands. And thank you. Thank you, Edward.
Awesome. Again, this is Edward McAllister
Elizabeth Dose.
and this is an episode of Campus Corner. We'll see you next time.
Bye.